All right, welcome back to another video from my cloud series. Today I'll be provisioning private cloud solutions. I'll be doing it just really one main exercise. It's going to be pretty intensive. I'm going to be configuring RAID storage on a virtual machine. Now, when considering storage available in the cloud, while I was building here, there's different types of storage that can be utilized for different types of data, right? So, for instance, we could talk about block storage, where this type of data allows, or this type of storage allows data to be distributed onto different drives or partitions where each block will be on an individual hard drive. Now, provisioning this type of storage provides redundancy and avoids uh, single point of failure, right? Which is one of the worst things you could have. And an additional use of block storage is the incorporation of RAID for further redundancy or increasing performance, which I've talked about in a previous video and in my cybersecurity series. Now, block storage is also commonly used for storage area network, or SAN for short, where we can access the data across the network from a centralized device, or zoning of the data, right? Which can be used to classify the data according to the type of location. But nonetheless, we can actually, now that we have everything loaded here, we can get started with configuring the RAID. I'm going to configure the RAID 0. Now, despite that the RAID 0 does not provide information redundancy or fault tolerance of any kind, is general purpose to increase the performance or used to create a large logical volume. Now, this configuration primarily used when high performance is required and an application can tolerate lower reliability. Now, RAID 0 can be configured with two disks of varied sizes, but the array will be limited to the size of the smallest disk. Actually, I'm not sure why I closed it. But yeah, we're going to pairing RAID 0 and RAID 1. Right, it just grants the benefit for high performance and a layer of redundancy, and the trade-off is that it requires a minimum of 4 disks to set up. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and create a resource. Now, a drawback also to keep in mind with RAID 0 is that without redundancy and one drive fails, it can cause the entire array to fail. Unfortunately, now having data striped across all this can result in a complete data loss from a single disk failure, right? So I'm just going to right now provision the virtual machine and configure RAID 0 using the attached disk that we have here. So let's actually create a virtual machine first. Let's see. It'll work here. Okay, let's get a resource group Willard. Hey, Will. How you doing, buddy? Then, here we go. Latency is getting kind of weird. Okay. Is it working again? Let's see. Okay. Perfect. All right. So I think it should be working now. All right. There we go. Okay. Practice lab. Right. And actually, um, do this here. Talk about it. Actually, let me make sure I take a look at the other stuff first here. Okay. Sounds good. See. That's good. I'm not sure why it gave me that message. But of course, let's name our admin account. All right, perfect. Um, we're doing create now. Validate first, of course, and to be able to create. Let's go. Perfect. Right, deployment. Change it out to there. Well, it should be done in just a second. All right, so the deployment is complete. So let's go ahead to that resource and we can take a look at the disk. We're actually going to create a new one. Okay. Oh, all right. That's a little bit different when you're creating a disk. Okay. And we want this one to be 6.4. Right. And we're going to apply. Perfect. So we're good there. We're actually going to do a second one. So, hmm, okay. There we go. Fully updated. We got our connect here. There we go. We want to download the RDP. All right. There we go. Here. Keep. All right. We want to open that. Connect. There we go. Wait a minute. Okay. That's fine. Hmm. Okay, that should work. There it is. Perfect. And we're in. Remote desktop to 110. Okay. It's time to load here. All right, so we're finally in remote desktop. Well, we're connected. So let's actually start to look for uh, this management here. It'll load for me. Actually, that. Actually, perfect. So I should get an initialize this window population or pop up rather uh, for newly attached it to be initialized. So not sure what waiting on. All right, here we are. These are good, and we wanted the partition style to be GUID partition table, right? All right, so we're good there, and also I wish I had the dialog box still here, but there's a master boot record and there's a GPT for the GUID partition table. So two different methods of storing partitioning information, right, on a drive. And MBR usually has a hard 2 terabyte limit for the entire drive when utilizing MBR. the maximum storage on that volume is 2 terabytes. So everything else will be wasted. So GPT actually is a newer standard, um, supporting up to 128 partitions. If I remember correctly, with much larger capacities. Now, both can be used to configure RAID. A RAID and should only be issued when considering for legacy resources and size limits. You want to take those into thought. All right, so now we have the disk management window open. So we see the disk 2 and 3 that we've just partitioned, right? So just going to do this here. We're going to do a new strike value for disk 2, right? And we're going to hit next. This one, I'm going to add it here, of course. Right, this is good. Right, and we want the to do it the long way. All right, perfect. We want to enable file folder construction. Of course, we want to finish. Yes, we do want to continue. There we go. Perfect. So now, actually, while this is should be showing the RAID in just a moment for this too, should be showing RAID 0. There it is. How you doing? All right, so let's actually open this guy up here. Perfect. And we can actually see there's a new RAID. Well, initially it wasn't there before, even though I didn't technically check, but it wasn't there before. And now we see the newly created RAID 0 drive with the storage size of 127 gigabytes, which is pretty good. So actually, let's close this out. It'll let me close out this remote session. We've gotten that done. All right, perfect. So now we're back on a connect page. So now I'm going to configure, just clear all this out. Yeah. So now I'm just going to configure RAID 1. Now, RAID 156 and 10, there are, it's where failure redundancy is addressed. Now, based on the RAID configuration that is chosen to be set up, it's going to determine the technique that's employed. So RAID 1 is known as mirroring. RAID 5 is distributing parity, requiring a minimum of 3 disks. RAID 6 is known as like dual parity, requiring a minimum of 4 disks. And then for added resiliency, you have RAID configurations that can be nested, like RAID 1.0. The simple example of it as it combines both striping and mirroring. So what I'm going to do now is actually, let's see, let's take a look at our virtual machine. Going to configure the RAID 1 as I mentioned, right? And then we're actually going to create Azure virtual machine, like the resource group, the to this time. Europe South, we're good there. Let's see that our security standard, that's good. Images, the same, as we like. Um, perfect, perfect. Scroll down a little bit here. Oh, of course, there's gonna be something missing. So, to do that. Perfect. Okay. Inbound port. We're fine there. will validate so we can create. Never create. All right. So our deployment is complete. We can go to our resource, take a look at our disk, and naturally, of course, create a new one. It's going to be a bit of a different name, of course. And we want all right. And let's keep going to do again. Perfect. And we're good to go. So look at where did it go? There it is. Okay. Open. Connect. So we're essentially doing the same thing, just with a different RAID. Okay, there is our remote desktop. Taking its time today, huh? Yeah. All right, so we got everything nearly ready to go. So let's get started with, of course, our management. Get out the way. There we go. Let's get busy. Okay, so we should have again another, there we go. Initialize this. Of course, we want the GUI. All right. And we're gonna do a instead of a chart, we're gonna do a mirror naturally, right? And we added, okay, we're gonna do this 2 and 3. Then we're gonna leave this as a default. All right, and we want this to be RAID 1. Okay, everything else is fine. We can finish. Yeah, cool. And let's wait for it to show up for me. Okay, raw and healthy. We love raw and healthy, don't we? Okay. No, I think it's still, oh, it's still formatting. I see it there. Come on. There we go. Atta girl. All right, so RAID 1 is now fully, initialized on disk 2 and disk 3. And of course, we're going to double check what our file looks for here. Take a look here, and we can see RAID 1 in the F drive. So we see the storage size, it didn't expand like we're setting up to RAID 0, but as we can see attached, um, right, the two disks to replicate data across them. Let me actually go back up. Now, this ensures that if one of the disks fails, that the data will still be intact on the operational disk. Now, though this is useful and maintaining redundancy, it does not address the fact that the data can grow by leaps and bounds, right? Now, in this situation, typically I would leverage a feature known as data deduplication in order to help out with that. But nonetheless, I'm going to take an additional step this time. I'm going to take a look through, I had it open. Here we go. Server manager, we're going to add roles and features here. All right. That's good. That's good. All right. And take a look here. All right. And there we go. That's how I do that. Okay. Then we just install. Right. Install. Hopefully it doesn't take too long for the install. Then I can show you guys the file and storage services. All right, so now the install is completed, I can close this out. We can actually take a look here. Take a look at our values. Data should populate here for me. Right. There it is. All right, perfect. There we go. Now, let me explain what deduplication is before I continue. Now, it's going to delete unnecessary copies of data. Now, in this case, it's not going to delete the data that's mirrored across the two disks, but the data that would be contained in the files on the drive, right? The deduplication is perfect for highly redundant operations like SQL backups, because these files can be backed up weekly, daily, or even hourly, creating large amounts of data, duplicate data, right? And this process actually analyzes the data and stores only the compressed, unique file segments. So let's actually do that there. Right, then we're gonna do apply. Then we're gonna do okay. All right, now we can actually close all of these. Right, perfect. And that's how you do everything as far as provisioning private cloud solutions, at least for the most part, right? And just for a brief recap, we configured some RAID storage on a virtual machine, right, by way of Microsoft Azure. We define storage features and considerations. We configure RAID 0, RAID 1. We enable compression on an allocated disk. And we also enable deduplication on the files here as well. That was most certainly a lot of fun. Can't wait till the next one. On the next one, we'll actually be deploying cloud networking solutions. Can't wait to see you there. In the meantime, stay curious, stay secure.